Hey everybody, this is Carol with Hearth and Harvest. I just wanted to say hi and I hope you guys are having a really good Sunday. I don't know about you, but I have just felt so discouraged lately, and I really like to be upfront with everything because this platform that I've been given by God, I think He wants me to share the good, the bad, and the ugly. And just in talking to people at church this morning, the enemy always makes us think that what we're going through is individualized and we're by ourselves and we're being punished. And it's just not that way. I think if you speak to your friends or you speak to family members or anybody at your church today, people are really going through some difficult trials. Last week, I was really studying and looking into some things for me personally about David, our Bible study on him, and you always hear he's a man after God's own heart, but he's not perfect. And I have a really hard time with perfection, and if I'm not perfect, God's going to take away my blessings or I'm going to be punished. I'm trying as hard as I can. I'm human. I make mistakes every single day, and I personally make the same mistakes every day. Every single day I have to come and tell God, I'm sorry, please help me. And, the areas that I'm weak in, and please strengthen those and help me glorify you in all ways. I was really studying that last week about how, even though David wasn't perfect and even though he was doing things outside of God's will, he still was a man after God's own heart, and he was still blessed. And I struggle with that. And this week I had a really hard week. I'm sensitive. I've given up my whole life for this business, and I want it to do well, and I want my kids to be proud of me, and I want my community to see God through me and to share his love. And I've just been blessed in so many ways. But you've got a business for the first year. I don't know anything about business. I don't have a business degree, and I'm holding up on September will be a year with Hearth and Harvest, and I have just really felt the enemy coming for me and putting doubt in me. I don't get a lot of negative feedback, but it's not fun. People have comments about my food's too expensive, or they're not happy with certain things. And I really, in the moment, want to defend myself, and I want to say, there's a lot that goes into these prices. And what you're paying for, I'm not making a huge profit off of. I'm trying to bring these quality foods and ingredients in a loving, faithful way. I'm trying to be obedient, and I have to remember that God fights those battles, and God handles that, and I don't need to always feel like I've got to defend myself or defend my prices or defend my business. I have to stand by my product. I've got to stand by my business. I don't run this business like a normal person probably does, because I'm not a business person, and I have to remember I'm not qualified for this, and God is using me for this, and he's teaching me to really trust. It's hard to trust when you can't see. It's hard to trust when you feel like you're being tested. So I was just really feeling heavy the past week or two, and really questioning myself and questioning, did I really hear God speak to me last September? Did I really hear all those things? And I went back and watched my testimony, and I said, that was real. I am where he wants me to be. If I think about going back to my old life and looking back, I just can't see myself going back to working at social services in an office every day and being away from my family. This environment, I just feel like God can really use me. And I think it's important for us to remember that the closer you get to God and the more you're trying to seek him out, Satan's coming for you, and he's going to come for your family. And you really, you just have to be aware of that. And you really have to be, in your word. I know when I think about it and when I'm honest with myself, I usually pray over every single door in my house. I've got some holy oil, and I put it over my door frames, and I go and I pray. I've got a prayer shawl that I put on, and I'm really good about doing my devotionals at night. And with vacation and things, I've been slipping, and I haven't been doing that every week. And I just think that, you can really tell when that happens, because it leaves little cracks for the enemy to get in. So I was going to church this morning, and I was just praying in my car, like, please have a word for me today for some encouragement, God, because I am really struggling. And I don't like feeling this heavy anxiety where I can hardly sleep because I'm so anxious. I know that I need to trust you. Can you just give me some encouragement? And our Sunday school class, Miss Carla was teaching on Job. Am I getting punished, or am I feeling this devastation like Job? No, I still have my house. I still have my children. I still have my business. As you can hear in the background, there's baby chicks back there. My animals are still producing. But with Job, it's just important to remember that when things happen to us that are bad, it's not punishment always. Sometimes we are being tested, and sometimes we are going to grow. And I was just thinking about Job's wife, and she sat back and watched all these things happen to her husband, and she did stand by him. But she got angry with God. And I was just thinking, my kids are watching certain things happen to me, or I'm watching certain things happen to other people, and my testimony or their testimony is growing, and it's not always about us. And sometimes when we go through things, there's people watching, and they really need to grow. I do think God is really growing my confidence. It is not a fun lesson that I'm learning. I don't like it. Sometimes growing pains hurt. Then I went into the sermon today, and it was Psalm 34. And it just was really confirmation for me, because David as well is going through these trials, and he's still seeking out God. And one thing that the pastor said today that really stuck with me is stop seeking the thing and start seeking the giver. Seek God through the storms. Don't just keep asking. Seek out God. I do need to be obedient. I do need to continue to be in the Word. I do need to continue to pray over my household and my children. Continually, Psalm 34 verse 1, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. I want my kids to see that even when I'm stressed out, and even when I don't know what's coming up next, I am still going to praise God. I am still going to do what I can to tell other people about how good He is. He's done so much for me. He's done so much for our family. I do have a testimony to share. I do feel that I am seeking out, and I have a desire for God, and He does know my heart, and He's not punishing me. I'm learning, and I'm going through a trial, and it's bringing me closer to Him. Have you ever noticed when things are going great and you don't have a care in the world, sometimes you're backsliding a little bit because you don't feel like you need to rely on God. Everything's going good. And then the second something happens, what do? God, please help me. Please fix this. Please give me this. Please help me with my bills. And so I think today is just a reminder that you don't seek the thing. We don't need to just ask. Seek out God. Seek out the giver. Seek out the provider. And I just want you to know that you can be following the will of God, and you can do everything right, and you're still going to go through trials. And I encourage you to reach out to your community and your family and your friends, and you'll find out that we're all going through things. God tells us this is a very difficult life. When you're living for God and you're not living for the world, you're going to have struggles. You're going to have hardships. The closer you get, Satan is threatened, and he wants you to trip up. He wants you to doubt. He wants you to feel anxiety. You know, one of the things, there's a visual from this morning talking about Job is, you know, God asked Satan, where have you been? What have you been doing? He has been pacing back and forth. I mean, he could be outside of our door right now, pacing back and forth. Where's a crack for Kara to let me in? How can I get in? How can I make her stumble? How can I hurt her? How can I make her doubt? That's how important our soul is. And so it's just important that no matter what's going on, continue to praise him. I just wanted you to know, because a lot of us are struggling right now. I am as well, but we are not alone, and God is with us, and guess what? He always makes a way. I get so annoyed how he always makes me wait till the last minute before something comes through, but he always does. And, you know, I'm proof of that. Here it is, almost a year into my business. I haven't filed for bankruptcy, thank God. I haven't lost my house. We have never missed a meal. I had a meeting with someone a couple weeks ago, and they just said, I don't know how you're making ends meet. I don't know how you're paying your bills. And I said, I don't know either. It is literally by the grace of God. He is a provider, and he does provide. And just wanted to remind you of that. I needed to be reminded of that. Go read Psalm 34. It is just what I needed to hear today. Such a good reminder. And I'll just leave you with this. The promises that God gives us, it does not eliminate that there's going to be life's problems. That's another thing our pastor said today. Problems are always going to be there. There's always going to be something. You get up on that mountaintop, enjoy it, because you'll be in the valley before you know it at the blink of an eye. But you are never by yourself. You are never alone. And our God is so much bigger than any of this. And he's got us. And I just want you to know you are never alone. And I hope that you carry that through with you this week. I hope you have a really happy week. And I just want you to know that I am praying over our community, and I love our community, and there are so many good things that we can focus on. It gets easy to get discouraged, but just know you're not alone. All right, I hope you have a great week. Bye.